Hey lovers, it's your girl Miss DeeVa here, tuned in right now for the hottest podcast, number one podcast on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're just going to claim that thing on YouTube, Spotify, Castbox, Deezer, everywhere that the show is available to listen to. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to give you guys a little music before we get started, and we're about to go into the topic. Wow, it was a lot to even go through their entire show on V103 Atlanta because I was listening to K. Michelle and Derrick Jaxn go back and forth, and it was a very healthy dialogue. And so I wanted to go ahead and say, let's just get this town hall started because this topic right here, this is one that's going to continue for a lifetime. The answers change all the time. We're always looking for the right answer, and it's always changing. This is the rebuttal to K. Michelle versus Derrick Jaxn. Are men bad, or do women just manipulate? So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get a little bit of background and get some people going, okay? Okay, guys, you can listen to that V103 interview. That is, at first, you probably want to go back and listen to K. Michelle interview when she said, all men are bad, all men are bad. And then you're going to hear the interview that comes after that where she's talking to Derrick Jaxn, and they try to have this conversation again. So it is the battle of the sexes in a sense, but is it really? So that's what we're going to talk about here on the Ask DeeVa podcast today. Be sure to tell your friend, to tell another friend to tune into the Ask DeeVa show because we're going to keep this dialogue going until we get exactly where we need to be. I hate to promise answers because we all come from different places. We all come from different backgrounds, perspectives, and mindsets. So, you do want to see some minds change on some very stuck in their ways kind of thoughts. But then at the same time, everybody's going to progress at their own pace. So we never know what these conversations are going to do. And that's why they seem so repetitive in the radio and podcast world because it's just happening over and over again. You go into the all men cheat, all men are bad, all women, cheat and slut and whore, and all women are bad, and that will just continue to go on and on and on until we can try to find a medium ground. And I do my best to try to get us there. So let's just talk about some things that stood out to me. So K. Michelle said something here throughout the podcast. I just kind of picked up on several things that were said. So she says she pays her own bills. Independent woman pays her own bills. So what a man has to offer doesn't matter. Ladies, she said, I pay my own bills, fellas. So she said, what you have to offer doesn't matter. And she calls you good men the 1%. Ouch. So she said good men are 1% and that the bad men are 99%. So I'm here to challenge that. Are good men only 1%? And are the bad men 99%? Or is it what I said on my show yesterday when I was talking about the 8 reasons that men cheat on me? Is it that the 1% are not very vocal and visible, and the 99% are being put out there everywhere because the reason she's excessive over a man? Remember that book that I wrote? So you have the women that I wrote about in that book that are being able to put things out in a viral manner. They have the he's a no good this kind of Facebook group, and don't you hate them all Facebook group, and they ain't never gonna be shit Facebook group. Like you have a lot of Facebook groups going on, right? So okay, so take that explicit as being a media allow explicit, right? So sorry about that, you guys. So the host said this, and this brought a conversation. The Atlanta host said this: women are magical manipulators. So she says, I pay my own bills. What do you have to offer me? He comes back and later on in the conversation with women are magical manipulators. How does an independent woman manipulate a strong man? You guys are going to have to break that down to me and give very valid explanations as to how that can happen. How does a extremely strong independent woman, how is she capable of manipulating a man that claims to have that same strength? Right? So we're going to talk about that, and I have something that I'm going to bring to you. So shout out to Laird over there in Austin, Texas. So my brother is supposed to give me some feedback, so I'm looking for that. So you can just kind of right there where we've been chatting at on Facebook, if you can hear the show, then I want you to, let me tell him to give me some feedback. Okay, so if he can hear the show, right? If not, then I'll have him give me some feedback later, and he'll hear this part of the show, and then he can just give us some feedback later, right? So let's get some thoughts from men, but I'm going to go here on something with you guys. So she says she pays her own bills, so what does a man have to offer? Okay, that's you're talking from a very broad statement, and you're saying, what does any man have to offer because you pay your own bills? Sweetie, there are silent billionaires out there. There are silent millionaires out there. There are silent, stable, financially stable, 800 plus credit men out there. There are a lot of men out there that are available that do have something to offer. And then there are men that may have bad credit, but it may come from the story of a woman destroyed their credit and they're working to rebuild their credit. Now, come on, okay? You can't shoot down the guy that was trashed by a woman, that he trashed his entire credit. And she trashed his credit, and he's trying to rebuild his credit, and he's working with a financial advisor. He's opening up stocks in the market. He's doing everything that he can to save. He's building his savings again. He's paying off this debt that he did not create, like her JCPenney and Macy's card. He's taking care of things that never were his responsibility. He's paying off the debt of the car that she took with him when they split, and she allowed to get repoed, so he's having to pay that off of his credit, right? So it's not that this dude is incapable of being financially lit as you are, sis. It's that he's having to rebuild, because when he was financially lit, a no good woman came and tore that away from him. So he's having to rebuild. So you can't tell me that he's in the 99%, sis. He's not in the 99%. He's still in the 1%. I'm surprised that I'm even acknowledging these statistics. 99 versus 1% is not accurate at all. But he's in that percentage of good men still. He is. You cannot say that he's not a good man when he's having to rebuild his existence, and he has the stamina and the will to build himself back up from what that evil person tore down from him. And in the process, half the time, he can't even see his child. Bloop. Bloop. Ladies, come on. Independent queens that won't allow a man's story to have any kinks in it. And in the same body that you guys do not allow a man to have anything wrong with him, You got issues, sis. Come on. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. So what does a man have to offer? There are plenty of men that have something to offer to you chasing the bag, sweetie. There are some men that are no longer chasing the bag. Bloop. Bloop. They're already set and settled, right? So I have a brother, love him to death. My brother, Mac, one of my brothers. You guys know I have a lot of brothers, so they just become a part of my livelihood for the rest of my life. You know, before he was out deciding on one woman and choosing this one person to be with in his life, he was doing just what you ladies say that you were doing, that you are doing. He was just seeing various people, doing him out there, floating, as K. Michelle said, doing his own thing. In that process, he bought a house that he wanted his future wife to be in. He bought a car, truck, he started planning his finances, career, degree, everything that would be able to be when he finally chose the woman that, yes, that's who I want to have my children with, even has a plan in there to have children. This is what I'm going to have to offer her when she comes. It's a lot of men out there like that. I don't know where you're looking for them. You talked about the Atlanta aliens on your podcast, sweetie. Colorado aliens exist. Texas aliens exist. They're all over the place, love. So there are no good men in every corner of the world. I'm sorry, London aliens exist. Russia aliens exist. Like there are men cutting up everywhere you go. So it then becomes something that my friend girl said that was very powerful over on the East Coast. It's all about who you allow in your energy space, sis. No good cutting up, ignorant acting. Did you meet him at a nightclub? When you met him, if it wasn't at a nightclub, does he frequent the nightclub? Is that the only place that he has for entertainment? Does he not ever go out and just play golf, play basketball, go out and maybe just chill and have conversations about the stock market and the finances and the upcoming recession, where we don't have time to be worried about are men good or women bad, because we have a major recession coming up in 2020. That's a little bit more of where the focus needs to be. So what type of men are you meeting, right? And we all want to think when we're in relationships that we met the one, right? Okay, that's not true. That's not true. So I do like the part where you said, I'm not the spokesperson. You told yourself the answer. You said in that interview, K. Michelle, you said, I'm not the spokesperson for, don't let me be your spokesperson or mentor, or however you worded that, women, because I have flaws going on in my current situation. He's not acting right? So we all have moments in life, whether we're in a relationship or not in a relationship, where challenges are going to come. I am going to actually give you the answers to that in just a few minutes. And that's going to make so much sense that you're not even going to see that as a challenge. If you still do after this podcast, man, it's some work that needs to be done. And that's on another professional level that I'm going to have to send you over to do some one-on-one counseling somewhere after that, ladies. So the host said this, and we'll return to that. Women are magical manipulators. What? Women are magical manipulators? Fellas, women are not... Okay, cool. So, yeah, so I'm glad you're listening. And make sure that... Thanks, Laird, for tuning in. We have to pause for a minute and shout out to the ones that are tuned in. Tell our brother Maurice to tune in also. So I'm going to tell you that real quick. Tell him to tune in also. He's probably like, why are you guys all over my notifications right now? So we're probably just hurting his notifications right now. I love my family, right? So here's the thing. I have something for this. Men, it's going to get sticky, but don't get so sticky that you hang up, okay? Just stay tuned. I promise. I have something that's coming up in the middle and at the end that you are going to appreciate what I said now. but this one is going to be hard. My fiance had come through, and he had was kind of going through like, he had that kind of a morning. And then when I like listened to this thought that I have here, and I told him, and he like spazzed for like 30 minutes over it. And it took me a minute to get to the part that I'm going to share with you all in the middle and in the end, before he was like, oh, okay. But so, and he even like told me the story about a Troy movie, and I don't know the Troy movie very well, or the story of, but I'm going to tell you from what he told me, and I challenged him on that also. It starts with this. The host said, women are magical manipulators. DeeVa says what? Men, you are not being manipulated or seduced by women, okay? This part that I have to say next, I get disclaimer, I am not bashing. I am trying to get you to think your food of thought outside of the box that you have limited yourself into. And even if you are thinking outside the box, I need you to kick that other wall of that box open, because we're going to go a step further. We're going over to the next step of the box, right? It's the bigger box. You know how there's a gift that people put together, and then there's a big box, and then another medium box, and a small box. Okay, so we're going to just go through all those boxes right now to pop out and just be like, bam, DeeVa brought me something. So stay with me, because this one's going to sting. So we'll start over. Women are magical manipulators is what he said. I say what? Men, you are not being manipulated or seduced. You are just weak AF. You're just weak as... you understand? She did not manipulate you. Do you understand where I'm coming from? You're just being weak, lover. You're just being weak. So this is how this came about. Stay with me, brothers. Hold on strong, because I hear you cursing me out, and it just came through the waves, and I'm going, slow down, my good men, my bad men. I need all you mother effers to slow down on me for just a minute, because I'm going somewhere with this. So he says, the host was saying something. He goes, yeah, babe. This is Honey chiming in. He goes, remember that movie Troy? And I don't know it, so maybe you fellas know it. And he said there's a movie and a story about a lady in a movie portrayed, I guess, in a movie called Troy, and the woman was so beautiful. She was so put together. I think about her, and she had K. Michelle's old booty. You know what I'm saying? Kay, I love you, girl. So she had K. Michelle's old booty, and she had a waist like, who has the smallest waist out there? Dolly Parton's waist. Right? And then she had like Nicki Minaj buttons. I don't know. I have not seen this movie, so I'm just visualizing what is it. What was the beauty that they saw? Of course she probably had light skin and mixed skin, because that's usually the only one that the majority of you guys think that are beautiful anyway, right? Some of you guys are missing out on beautiful women because you won't, darken the tones that you accept. But okay, I said don't get upset with me, because I have to throw in things that are just DeeVa, right? But so she had beautiful hair, beautiful face, all this, right? He said this woman was so beautiful. Men from everywhere and all these different worlds wanted her. And so they wanted her so bad. They went to war over her, babe. He didn't say it like that. That's just me exaggerating. Men, you're weak as fuck if you think that her beauty is the reason why they went to war. And so I gave him an example. I said, babe, I'm going to put her in another place. And this is coming from a United States Army war widow. I am going to make her Iraq, and she has oil. That's it. Stay there. You with me? Only my military people can really appreciate this. So she's Iraq. She has oil. We're America. We want her. So we actually make the ignorant decision to decide that it's because of the oil that she possesses between her legs. That oil is the reason why we're all gonna go to war over this bitch. No, that's just men being weak as fuck, making weak decisions. The oil is hers. She owned it. She created it. She was born with it. She birthed it. This is everything that she is, right? So this belongs to her, and she does not ever have to give it out. I know 90-year-old women that have never had one child and are still, just single and spent their whole life never building a family. It's not required. It's her beauty. That's her oil, and we don't have to go to war over it. And the only reason why we go to war over it is because we're selfish and we're egotistical and we're weak as fuck. And we want it, and we want to take that from her, which is what has been done to women for ages. You have something and I want it. You don't deserve to have it. And I'm going to subliminally tell people from the beginning of time that women are weak and are supposed to be quiet and do not have tone and do not have an opinion. And I'll be damned if you can vote. You get where I'm coming from? And no, we aren't going to say she anywhere in a biblical piece that I'm going to put out as a piece of literature and seduce people into saying that this is the way that it should be. And men will believe these things and they will go on and continue and conquer the world with this mindset. That's weak as fuck. It's weak. Many people fell for it. They were manipulated by that process. They thought like that for a long time. Barefoot and pregnant was a thing for many years before women were able to stand up and have a voice, right? So her beauty did not make you make the decisions that you made. We all as humans have moments where we are weak. DeeVa, how can you forgive that guy for cheating on you and he did it twice? Damn, the same way Beyonce forgave Jay-Z for doing it 31 times. When you are compassionate enough, when you love unconditionally enough, you are patient enough to allow people to not be as perfect as your perspective desires for them to be. Do you understand where I'm coming from? You may not be able to see it like maybe just like really see it immediately from where I'm coming from. But I promise you that if you just allow my words to just kind of register without the defense, you may see where I'm coming from. Her beauty and her manipulation and her seduction didn't make your decisions. You still walked past all of that weakness and made those decisions to walk with her for whatever time frame that you walked with her. And when she slept with your best friend, you kept trying to fight him to be with her. And when she tore up your credit, you kept arguing with her to continue to be with her. And when she wouldn't let you see the children, you kept fighting to get her back because you were weak and wanted to be with her. So when you got strong and you walked away from her, she's not at fault for your weak as fuck decisions. Do you guys get where I'm coming from? All right, let's see. Do we have any thoughts yet? Okay, so no thoughts yet. Okay, Laird, come on. Maurice, come on. You guys give me some feedback. I want to hear this. So, so that's what I had for that. So I hope you guys rewind to that. And I know that the podcast is only they're giving me 20 more minutes. So we have to get through these points here, right? Then Derrick Jaxn said this. So he comments and says, we are putting the responsibility of who we are as men on women, he said. A woman can't change that. Paraphrase, he said, that's on us. He said, that's on us. A woman can't protect herself, I think is what he said. Bloop to that part, because women, I'm going to teach you something in the podcast in just a few moments where you can protect yourself, right? So His Lies, Her Power is the book that I'm working on right now. That's the one that's going to continue on with the Reasons book tour that I'm headed on. So I'm giving you something with that also. But here's this, ladies. Watch your love language while you are defending and protecting yourself. When you are in defend and protect mode, guard your love language. And I know that we love the Zoom of Love. That is a powerful book. I love how they talked about in that relationship in the interview with Oprah, how they just would go at each other all the time and they couldn't figure out why. And then in the Zoom of Love book, they begin to tell us how to be able to get along with each other's differences. And that's how they were able to make the relationship. They are making their relationship work, right? The couple that wrote that book. So, and they talk about love languages when it comes to love. I'm asking you to watch your love languages everywhere, lovers. I'm watching a leader of our nation tear up our nation with hate language. I'm watching white supremacists rise in a time when black people, you have no business allowing them to rise on this level. It's too many of us for them to be able to be getting away with the 15 that show up to KKK rallies with, what do they wear now? Tiki torches and scarves on their face. Too many of us for that to be a thing. but we're not doing it because we're not unified, and we're responding with hate language. You cannot conquer anything, whether in a relationship with a lover, in a relationship with family, in a relationship with an ex, because yes, those are still relationships, co-workers, or even, people in organizations, people everywhere, in the store when you're interacting for 15 minutes of shopping. You can't do it with hate language. So you have to watch, ladies, your love language when you're in your defend and protect mode, because by nature, until they decide to change and do it another way, men cannot hear your need for him to be or do better. Why men great till they gotta be great? Lizzo, right? They can't hear you if you are speaking in a hateful, passionate voice. I'm challenging you that. I'm not being mean and bitter, Miss DeeVa. I'm passionate. Love passionate lover or hate passionate? Which one? I'm challenging you on that. I have to, because we have to go somewhere with that. So if you are speaking in a passionate tone, but it's full of a hate passionate tone, it becomes across as sounding like you have a bitter tone, and it's bitter sounding. By nature, the majority of men can't hear you. Science, get away from DeeVa. She doesn't know anything. That's fine. Take it that way. Taking you over to science. Men are black and white. That's what we study in psychology, do we not? Men are black and white. They think either this or that. They really don't fuck around with the middle, because that's not who they are. They don't do all those emotions that are caught up in the middle, right? That's why they fear a woman running this country. That's why Elizabeth Warren is struggling. That's why Hillary Clinton struggled. That's why Kamala Harris is having issues getting her way up in the ratings, because men, as by the majority, fear women being in control, because they've seen women in their life be emotional, and they fear emotional decisions being made. Although they have allowed a leader for the last 2.5 years make emotional decisions like a little old orange beach, but they fear that being the position of a woman. So by majority, science says that men are black and white, and they don't do all that in between. But women, we're colorful, and we're in the middle. And we tend to be extremely emotional and all over the place sometimes. And if we don't channel that, we may push out negative energy, even if what's inside of us is soft. Did you watch the interview? I saw something so soft and beautiful in K. Michelle when she was able to kind of lean back and hear from the brothers on what their perspective was. Then she got really, really rowdy again with her Norm, with the caller that called in as soon as he said one sentence that she didn't like. That's what we tend to do, women. That hate language, it's not going to talk to the majority of men, because they don't live in those kind of boxes. They don't live life that way. So you're going to have to learn a softer love language that's loud. I don't know. Someone give me something. I think that there is a way for love to be soft and loud. So I don't know. So let's just see. We'll go and find out. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go check the messenger. Let's go over there, get the iPad going, get the juices flowing. Thanks, everybody. I hope you guys are having fun right now with this podcast. And I need to see, check the chat box here. All right, so Laird has showed up. So, listeners, lovers, take a listen to what Laird says. He says, if we talk about one thing, we got to talk about another. Women are manipulators, he says. Look at the new Bloomberg article calling this era the Pence era. Do not be alone with a woman. Do not mentor her alone. Get your hotel room on another floor. DeeVa, you know men are not weak. Come on now. Look at the title. 9 articles, the Dear Colleague letter. Okay, I'll wait. So I promise you I will do that. I'm saying this. Listen, Laird, women didn't cause the men to make the decision. That woman in her beauty didn't, because that's what the host is saying on the show, that he said they're magical manipulators. So women didn't manipulate you to do that. Women didn't manipulate you to do that. It's your weakness. If Iyanla Vanzant was sitting right here, she would stop the conversation and she would make all of us own it. She would tell us, you have to own it. You have to own it. You have to own that moment in life when you were weak. I have to own moments in life when I've been weak. I have to own it. And they hurt. They are painful. They slap you. They are the episode of How to Get Away with Murder this Thursday, where they were beating on the pillows and getting it out of themselves. We've all been weak. We've all been weak. We've all had that moment. And yes, when we have someone that has come in and manipulated us, we either had blinders on, weak. We weren't paying attention, weak. We defended people when they said she's no good for you, he's no good for you, weak. Right? We all have moments where we're weak, right? So then let's go here. So the host said, he described how men feel when a guy finds the one. So he near blames women for when that feeling happens, when that feeling that he said. So he talked about how when a man finds the woman that's for him, he stops whoring. That's some weak. When you whoring, you're weak. So he said that, men stop seeing other people because they now have found the one. Why, thank you for even choosing me, master. For even stopping all of your whoring to make us the special one. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? So women, you have power there. His foolishness, her power. That's book 2. No, I'm joking. So describes how he said, men feel when he finds the one, and then he blamed women for that feeling when it faded away. He said that a woman and how she begins to start acting and all the things that she starts doing is the reason why he no longer feels that moment when he wanted to marry her. But now he's married and he's like, I want out because things are not like they used to be. Weak. If they're not the way that they used to be, then you go into counseling and you guys work at it. Work at it. If you did not go to counseling before you exited that relationship, you didn't give that relationship a chance. You have to at least see if that person is capable of changing. So I tell you guys on this show all the time that a message that I once heard, that miracles are not the miracles that happen in different times when people go from cancer to no longer having cancer, to, a person that couldn't walk starts walking, a person that couldn't hear starts hearing. That viral video we all love when the baby couldn't see and then they did the surgery and the baby could see. Those are miracles. But the biggest miracle that can ever happen in history of our existence is when a mind changes. And if you get professional work done on that relationship that you worked hard and you invested time, money, and energy into, it may change a mindset of the person that's been upsetting it. And if all of that doesn't change it, now, walk, dude. You don't need me to tell you that. But did you at least do that? Did you at least do that? Question that about ourselves. I look at some relationships that I could be back with those dudes if I had just did that. But I am also the host of the person that says, always prepare your dude, ladies, for his next bitch. But she's not a bitch. But I'm saying this from experience. All my exes live in Texas. Like, seriously, they do. And they are in phenomenal relationships. And they have all secretly been able to tell me, if you hadn't stayed on me like you did, DeeVa, I wouldn't have this love that I have now. They have left me and built families, had children. They have become better men and stopped their foolishness because I had to walk away from that they could not stop at the time. And when I took my love away, they then learned that hard lesson because I fight for love before I leave. I go through all levels. Like, do we need to go to counseling? Who do we need to talk to? We try to get some mentors in. I do it all. And so when the runaway bride, takes off, they then say, I'm never doing it again. And they are wonderful husbands to their wives now. They're all remarried and they're all wonderful husbands to their wives now. Like, come on. So you can listen to me on something. Maybe he's not going to be good for you when you change how you speak, ladies. how you talk to him, but he may be something good for someone else. And if that happens, be happy for them. All my exes live in Texas, and we all can get together and have a barbecue and hang out. Because DeeVa has no hatred, no anger, nothing. There's only one ex that likes to knock the fuck out of me every time he sees me. So I don't go around him, so I don't have to go to jail for life. Right? So we know that. We talked about that on the episode yesterday. But his wife has called me. His wife has called me. He used to abuse me terribly, and I told her that, and she was best friends. She was the wife of his best friend. So she knew in our intimate conversations what was going on. And so she called me years into their marriage and said, he crippled me in my leg. I'm deaf in one ear. How do I get through this? How did you get out? Should I get out? What should I do? And I gave her the advice. They're still married. She's doing what she did, So it is what it is on that. But that's probably the only one where me and her will get along fine at the barbecue. But that Negro will be trying to kill everybody else there. Like, he's just crazy and there's nothing we can do about Lord. But let's go back to the topic. So, let's go actually look at some comments. All right, thanks, Laird, for giving us that comment. And then let's go over here on Facebook. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in wherever you're tuning in from. Apple Podcasts, people know I love you. Google Podcasts, I love you. I can't always see your replies, but thank you so much. Twitter is how you can find me, Miss DeeVa for you. MZDEEVA, 4 YOU. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook the same way. The Facebook page is Ask DeeVa. Hashtag AskDeeva. You can also find me on the new website, and it's Everything DeeVa with some more things coming up. So askdeeva.onuniverse.com. I don't know. You have access to me in so many DMs, so when you slide in with respect, and I'm going to show that same respect back, and we can have a dialogue. And if you need me to help with something, that's what I do. I'm a relationship coach. This is what I do. I'll do this for the rest of my life. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Who did I leave out? iHeartRadio, Deezer, Spotify, Castbox, all you guys. I appreciate you. YouTube. Love you guys. All right. So sorry about that. Sometimes it goes really fast because they only give me, okay. All right. I think Laird needs to start a talk show. Also, brother Maurice said you need to start a talk show. You do. I see your DeeVa what? And then he says, if we talk about one thing, we got to talk about another. Okay. I read that already. Okay. Yeah. Women do not put up their best representatives. Nice. That's nice. That's so true. This is Laird Ali speaking again, ladies. So he said, women do not put up their best representatives as if they're who they're proclaiming to be. Then they start to show their true character a few months down the road. By then, I have something coming up on that too. By then, the man has invested in her, whom he thought by her manipulation. We're still going to be debating on that one. Was the one. So again, if we're going to talk about one, we got to talk about another. That's what we're trying to do today on the show. And then he says, females can call men weak as fuck, and women manipulate men. They even manipulate each other. But it's not to start a language of bad bitch got it this. Now, I'm not saying the weakness to say that. I'm saying that we as humans, people, women, men, when women are weak when a man manipulates us. That's the state of mind that we're in. We get like that. There's a moment of weakness that happens. We fight. Even in your weakness, men, you're fighting. We're all fighting to survive. But there's that give up moment that happens. And that's when the manipulator just comes in and he just devours. He just takes over because the manipulator knows that moment of weakness is coming. That is why the manipulator has been using that awful gift of manipulation, right? He doesn't know how to utilize that. Like, if you're a manipulator, get your ass down to Wall Street and manipulate this stocks and make us some money. Like, there's things that you can do with that part of skill that you've learned, right? So I then said this. So I said, he said that it fades. I say this. The fade is due to a man making a permanent decision. Here's okay. Stay with me, fellas. Don't get upset. Okay. Let me see if I have enough time to say this one. Oh, it's okay. Very little time. So we'll have to do a part 2 because I'm at 6 minutes. I said the fade is due to a man making a permanent decision from his swelled penis and matching that heart moment And when that feeling fades, you take that Cousin Pete advice, but Cousin Pete never told your ass how to rekindle the moment. So the fire is no longer as the blaze isn't as big as it was when your penis was swollen and your heart was swollen and you loved. So find out how to rekindle it. Fight for it. Not in a violent way. Work mentally to make this thing work. You've invested in her. She's invested her time in you. Try to see if you guys can make it work. But if it's violence going on, out, everybody out. Right? So that no one needs to be in each other's energy space if people are going to be violent all the time, every day. That's just not something that people do. Now, fellas, again, if you get knocked across your head with a frying pan because you were cutting up, that does not equal violence. No, I'm joking. The people are going to come for me. So, here's what Cousin Pete didn't tell you. He never told you how to rekindle the moment versus start searching for another woman because it's not working with this one. He never told you that. He never told you how to do that. So you're searching for another woman who can dual swell your member and your vital organ of your heart so that you can feel that desire to have a commitment again. You used all that energy and you could have stayed right where you were to work it out. Maybe see a professional on that. So that's why I tell you to date people. You hate me when I say this. I say it every show. That's why I tell you to date and be engaged for 10 years, ladies. Take your time. Stop running down the aisle. That way two people can walk away from each other. I've got my spot. You've got your spot. Yo, this don't work, bruh. And go separate ways. Don't become each other's wives and husbands because then you're going to not know the person fully. Give it a 5 to 10 year wait, and I promise that fight can actually bring something. Let's take up a page out of the book of Oprah and Stedman. So then why become his wife and be there for the ill decisions that they make when those body members and organs deflate and they don't want you anymore because you're not who you used to be? So take your time because he may not choose you. And you need to be okay with the fact that he didn't decide that you were it because you have a hateful language. You're not using your love languages properly. And he now decides, okay, yeah, that's not for me. So here's this. That magical feeling, fellas, that you felt does not come from her. I'm going to tell you this right now. She didn't manipulate you to feel that way. You will not stop searching until you realize that it is coming from you and you control the decisions to make it do right, to keep that fire lit. You control that. That part when Kay said that she's looking for a man like Jesus or Obama. Well, I agree with Derrick. Those men are spoken for. So find your Jesus within you and know the Obama, that Obama inside of him may be hidden inside of the one that's right in front of you if you utilize the right energy to encourage that out of him. Anger and hurt is going to damper that from ever being exposed. If you speak to him in a hate language, you're never going to get that point across to him. Then I said this. I have to always check to see if I have enough time. So I think I have 2 minutes to share this one. And see some comments also. Look, it's not just that women are making bad decisions. That would cancel out the law of attraction in its entirety if it were that. And it's not only men messing up either. Relationships happen for a reason and a season. Some seasons longer than others. You cannot categorize and generalize your way through them. You can't let every negative approach presented by the pop culture media tell you what men are or they're not, or what women are or not. Your decisions are just that. They're yours. You need to own them. Do not justify them. Embrace them. It feels right. Keep going. When you know it's over, stop. Go on your other way. Stop blaming the other genres with your decision or defending your choice to deal or not deal with them. Own your position and do what feels right, and know that every situation has purpose, my lovers. It happens because the law of attraction said it is to be so. So it shall be, at its purpose will be revealed in that due season. Okay, my lovers? So I have one more minute. So let's take a look at a comment. Laird said, do females not manipulate with all their eyelashes and booty inflations, breast inflations, wigs, and lace fronts? Laird, I say to that, do men not manipulate with those tights and those, boss, y'all got the guns and y'all in the gym, y'all got them abs and them cute looks and you keeping your beard all fresh and come on. My brother, we could do that all day, but I like that perspective that you're in. Okay, my lovers, look, relax, ride this life journey without getting bitter, lonely, and angry. Men, that goes for you first, women second these days. Why? Because that's the times. It's flipped it on us. Times have indeed changed. That's it, my lovers. I love that you tuned in. I thank you so much for being a part. I really love when people give me feedback. So when people come on the chat, that's just like back in the day. I love when we used to have that. Like everybody used to come and share because I am not the only one with a point of view. This is the Ask DeeVa podcast. I could go on and on. There are multiple shows coming up, and I have, 10 more topics coming. I think you're all going to love them. So let's get into these notes. Tell your friend to tell another friend. The DeeVa probably can't sing, but she does need you to tune into the Ask DeeVa show. Share the show with someone. Thank you.